Hello and welcome. Have you ever written a thesis? Maybe an MA, an MEd, MPhil or PhD. What was the outcome? Did you publish it? Did you publish from it? If you published from it or publish it, congratulations. But if you did not, I got good news for you. It's never too late. So I want you to publish that thesis right now. That sounds like a military command, doesn't it? Okay, so welcome to this lecture on publishing your thesis or publishing from your thesis. My name is Austin Emielu, a visiting professor to Rose University in Grahamstown, South Africa. I'm also an external fellow of the Sherpa Institute for the Study of Contemporary Africa at Wilfrid Laurier University in Canada. Previously, I worked as a visiting professor to the University of Ghana and associate professor in Nigeria. So welcome, and we're going straight. Now that your degree has been awarded, do you still need to publish? So I will give you 4 reasons why you need to publish. And then I will tell you how to publish your thesis or from your thesis. And the important points to take note of as you publish. And then finally, I will share my research with you and the way I publish them. So as a way to encourage you. So let's delve straight. So why should you publish your thesis? I have 4 reasons for you. The first one is this. It's a major research work that you undertook. You know how much time you spent doing the thesis. Maybe an MPhil, an MA, and a PhD. So long a time doing research. So it's a significant research that you have done and it shouldn't be left to follow on the shelf. The point number 2 is that your thesis passed through the table of several experts. First of all, when you developed your proposal, you presented it before the graduate committee, made up of senior academics, they looked through it and approved it. And then you were assigned a supervisor, who's also, a senior academic to work with you. Then you did the research till the end, and then you submitted the thesis for examination. There was an internal examiner, there's also an external examiner. And then at the end of the day, your thesis was passed and you awarded the degree. So your work has passed through the table of experts, and so it has a high intellectual quality, and that's why you should not keep it, you should publish it. So every thesis has a new contribution to knowledge, and it's not good to let the knowledge lie on the shelf. You need to share it, And then finally is this. Theses are written to be shared with people and not to put on the shelf. So theses do not belong to the shelves. The knowledge must be shared with people. You went to do research, to gather knowledge so that you can share it, and that's why you should publish. Now, what to publish and what not to publish from your thesis? Well, if you did a PhD or a good master's thesis, you can publish it as a book, but with some revision, So you can revise your thesis and publish it as a book. I have this book which I read in those days, It's very useful. They didn't pay me to advertise it, but this book, Thinking Like Your Editor, is good when you want to revise your thesis. Think about it. I reworked my thesis and published a book from it, which I will share with you after. Then also you can decide to publish articles from your thesis. You can look at the core chapters. When I mean the core chapters, excluding introduction, literature review, methodology, conclusion, the core chapters, you can publish from there. You can also look at your thesis topic and publish. Use it to make a paper and publish. Again, you can look at your research questions. They can form the basis of an article also, or any article you want to publish from the research question, from the objectives. And now, you can also derive articles from your chapter headings. You publish any article you like. Then when you do research, when you do research to write a thesis, usually you have more data than you expected. So there will be some extra data that could not, for one reason or other, be included in your thesis. And you can publish that too. I have done that, and I will tell you later. So now, but before you publish your thesis, maybe as a book, consider this point. How long ago was your thesis written? and how relevant are the findings now? So you need to look at how long ago is your thesis. Are the findings still relevant? Do you need to go back again and do some extra research? Usually some people do that, Maybe they get a postdoctoral fellowship and they go and do some extra work to, add to the knowledge in the thesis. So you need to do extra work in the thesis, to update your findings. So if you want to publish your thesis as a book too, you may need to change the title, You may need to change the title. So like this is my PhD thesis now. Origins, development and sustenance of Highlife music in Nigeria. But when I was to publish it, this name does not might not be have a market appeal. So when I was to publish it, I changed it to this, Nigerian Highlife music. So I'll talk more on this later. So you might need to get a new title for your book if you are publishing your thesis. And then you need to make the local global. We do research in our local communities, with local issues, so to say. But how do you make that which is local to be global? I did my master's research in Kwara State, on music education in Kwara State, Nigeria. And it got published. I published an article from it, in the British Journal of Music Education. And this work has been cited all over. So how did it become global? What I did locally in Kwara State. So I'll talk more about that later in my presentation. So again, before you publish your thesis as a book, consider readership. Who will read your work? About last year or so, I got a book proposal from, I think, Oxford University, asking me to review, the book and recommend for publication. And so one of the questions they asked me is, who are going to be the readers of this book? Who are the proposed readers? There's another one again from Taylor and Francis that was sent to me, I think from Australia also. So they were also asking me about readership. So before you publish, you have to consider the readership. Who will read this work? That's very important. Now, having done all of this, let me just walk you through the researches I've done, my master's, my MPhil, my postdoc, and how I published them. This is just to encourage you, So this is my master's thesis, on music education in Kwara State and assessment of music programs in secondary and tertiary institutions in the state. This is what I did. Of course, I couldn't publish it as a book because it won't make a good book like this. So what I did was to take an article from it and publish, in the British Journal of Music Education. And then the title changed. Some issues, in music education in Nigeria, a focus on Kwara State. And this work has been cited all over. So I was raising issues about music education. And some of these issues were resonating in Asia, in Europe, in parts of Africa, East Africa, South Africa, So that's my master's, and this is the major publication I got from it, an article in this journal. And then I come to my PhD thesis, which is this, And then I published, first of all, a few articles from it, Then I published this book, published by Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization in Lagos. Then a series of journals, journal articles. This one is in Popular Music, published by Cambridge University Press. This is Lagos State University. And this is from Ife in Nigeria, and this is another one again from Ife. So I was able to publish about 5 articles and a book. But in publishing from your thesis, you will have to be careful of self-plagiarism. If you're going to publish a book, then you're publishing an article, you must be careful not to repeat yourself. And that's why you are plagiarizing yourself. So I was careful about that. Okay, so I talked about extra research data after you have finished your thesis. So in this encyclopedia, the extra research data and additional materials I got was what I used to write the entry here on Igbo Highlife. I was commissioned to do this in 2011. So I submitted the entry, but it took about 8 years for this encyclopedia to come out. So the editors kept on writing to me, update, you know, until it was finally published in 2018. Then I went to the University of Ghana, you know, where I worked for about 7 years, and I met a colleague there who has also done a research on gospel high life in Ghana. I have done high life in Nigeria. So I felt, oh, why don't you collaborate? She did an MPhil, and I did a PhD. I said, okay, bring your MPhil thesis, and let me bring my PhD, and we collaborate. So we jointly authored an article, which is in this Journal of Musical Arts in Africa, published by Routledge. So you can also collaborate with another researcher if you have similar interests, and that's what I did here. So again, let me come to my postdoc. You know, my postdoc, I work on, you know, a history and ethnography of dance bands among the Edo of Nigeria. You know, so, and then I wanted to publish it as a book, but the editors, you know, told me that the book is going to be very small because the materials are not big enough to, you know, make a big book. So I decided, you know, to publish, you know, from there, publish a journal article from there, and that article appeared in Ethnomusicology Journal, you know. So this one too has been cited all over because I was talking about a new theory of progressive traditionalism, which has caught on with many scholars around the world, you know. So in the description, I'm going to put the titles of these, you know, articles, and maybe links for you to, you know, access them and possibly read them, you know. So if I show you my academia.edu page, you will see how many countries all these works have been read. So what does that mean? You know, it means that what you are trivializing, what you are considering as local, not important, could have, you know, relevance and resonance all over the world. So I encourage you to publish that thesis now. Publish articles. If you can publish a book, fine. You know. So these are my ideas for you. This is my encouragement for you. I hope you have watched my other videos on, you know, academic writing and research. So if you want me to work with you on your thesis, to develop your thesis into a book, fine, we can do it. You know, we'll work out an arrangement. If you want to publish from your thesis, you have difficulties, please contact me. We can work together. So thank you very much for your attention, and see you in another video.